Well, here it is, my latest labor of love. Went from this trashy piece to this stunning piece. And it started out with a lot of elbow grease, a couple of hours of peeling off veneer. I eventually had to use the heat gun, which worked a lot better. And then eventually, once I got all the veneer pieces off after a couple of hours, I took the sander and sanded it down. We had to fill in some of the bigger chunks with wood fill and glue some of the dresser drawers together. And then it was ready for Fusion Mineral Paint in the whitest white picket fence. The next step was adding some dimension and detail with the IOD molds and amazing cast resin, which dries after about only 10 minutes. Once it's done and you pop it out of the mold, you can just glue it onto your piece, paint over it, and then eventually you can add some antiquing glaze to really make all the details pop. The final step was to add the paint inlays. The Iron Orchid design paint inlay Petit Parasol is the one that I used here. I also had to create a little shelf or do something with the bottom part of this dresser because it didn't have a bottom drawer intact, and I wasn't able to create a new one. So I actually just cut a piece of shelving and made a cute little shelf at the bottom of this. Then I matched up my pieces of paint inlay to get the pattern all together. Applied the paint inlay to the wet chalk and clay paint from Debi's DIY, where I used white swan to match up with the outer edge of Fusion that I had painted the rest of the dresser with. The two whites actually blended really beautifully together. So I added the paint inlay using a moist shop cloth, letting the paper dry, and then moistening it again, where I was able to then remove the paper from the piece, and the paint inlay remains. And look at how beautiful this pattern turned out. Totally transformed this dresser from absolute trash to an absolute treasure. I put this piece in the window, and by the next afternoon, it was already sold. If you'd like to learn how to paint a piece of furniture, or maybe add some paint inlays or molds, you can register for a class on October 28th, in-store or online at www.missyhaycollective.com. I added Fusion Mineral Paint antiquing glaze to the detail of the molding in this piece, and it really brought out all of the beautiful detail. The paint inlay matched up perfectly. I put this piece in the window, and not even 12 hours later, it was sold.